Hockeytown, it's a place where dreams are found. We fought so many battles here, now we're the ones that they will fear. The cup resides within our town, we won't stop no letting down. The cup is ours, we're all to drink. It's our time, let's rock this ring.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Hockeytown Rundown. You are here with us, your beautiful hosts, once again, Carlo, Derek, and Zach. What is up, everyone? How's y'all's weekend going so far? Because mine's good. The Red Wings won last night, so I'm very happy this morning.
I mean, you can't be upset with a Red Wings win at this crucial time, especially against a team that's a lot better than us, technically. I'll take it. And the fact that I look outside and it's like 70-something degrees right now and sunny, I'm not going to be in this house very much longer after this podcast, so I say it's a good weekend.
Yes, sir. I'm right there with you, man. Beautiful day. Beautiful evening last night. Huge 2 points. Didn't breathe for 20 minutes, a.k.a. the third period. I did not breathe. I held my breath. I did not breathe, I said. I did not. Did I say I did not breathe? Holy smokes. We're only going to have to edit this out, Zach. It's only been like 20 seconds.
No editing this early on in the videos.
I'm too pumped. I'm too pumped. Let's keep it rolling. Let's get into it.
That was a very hype win. Yeah, I mean, I was on the edge of my seat that whole entire third period, too. I mean, it was just absolutely insane. But we have plenty of other games that we have to recap as well. We'll just lightly touch through those as we go along. But other than that, we obviously have some Red Wings news, then we'll go into our main topics and then around the league news. And so before we do that, thank you all for joining us once again on this brand new episode of Hockeytown Rundown. If you haven't already, whether if you're new or returning, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. If you're on Spotify, go ahead and hit that follow, rate us a 5 stars, and then hit the thumbs up on YouTube as well. That goes a long way. So, boys, yeah, let's go ahead and jump right into it. As you can tell by the rundown down below, the Red Wings did beat the Buffalo Sabres 3-1. Then the Detroit Red Wings lose to the Washington Capitals 2-1, losing to the Pittsburgh Penguins in overtime 6-5, and then beating the Toronto Maple Leafs 5-4 in overtime. I'm sick of overtime. I never want to hear that again for the remainder of the season. And luckily, there's only 2 games left, both up against the Montreal Canadiens, which will be on April 15th, Tuesday, and then the next day for a back-to-back game against the Habs as well on the 16th of Wednesday. Boys, let's go ahead and jump into that Buffalo Sabres game where, once again, like I said, Red Wings win 3-1. Red Wings win solely to me because of Lucas Raymond, also because of Alex Lyon, who posted a .974 save percentage. Dylan Larkin was also able to get a goal, but Lucas Raymond with his goal and his assist, yeah, he was the one who opened up the scoring. Then you get Patrick Kane to make it 2-0 and Dylan Larkin to make it 3-0 just in the first alone. And then you got Tage Thompson coming in. And Carlo, your bet, you did not say it on the last episode, but you posted it all over social media. Yeah, that winning had to have felt amazing. And I called you loony for doing that.
Yep. That was good. That was really good. That was really good. Paul Bissonnette, if you're watching, I'm right here. I'm right here. This guy. That was heavy. For those goals to all come in the first period I was losing my mind. I think you guys know that. Like I couldn't believe it. So we're gonna keep messing with these parlays, boys. We got 2 games left to make some quick hits here. So we're gonna keep her going.
Yeah, and so within this game, Carlo, congratulations. I think that was probably the best parlay I think I've ever seen anyone win. I mean, the odds on that was probably like 10,000 to 1, right? You know, so congratulations to you for getting that. Congratulations to the Red Wings for getting all those goals right away and then shutting down the Buffalo Sabres for the rest of the game. Yeah, all the goals came in the first period. Red Wings were outshot 24-38. Faceoffs were even 50%. Power plays, both even 50%. Both had 2 opportunities, both converted on one of those opportunities. Hits very even 29-28 in favor of the Sabres. And then block shots. This is where the Red Wings came in clutch, right? Where they had 27 block shots. And Carlo, I think you said that was where Mo Sider ended up getting 10 block shots just in that game alone. I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous, right? And that was just crazy of him to do that. And we mentioned that a couple episodes ago where we were like, we miss the most Seider that we had in the first season. And even last season where he was laying all the hits, all the block shots. And I'm actually going down to Moritz Seider's thing right now where, 10 block shots and 6 hits. Incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Dude.
We were questioning if he was even going to break his hitting record from previous seasons or just last season alone. He's right on track to do that. He was supposed to average at least like 3 to 5 hits per game. And so far he has been absolutely doing that. So, Derek, we haven't heard from you yet. So what do you think about the game overall? Like I mentioned, even Alex Lyon had a .974 save percentage, saving 37 shots on the 38 total.
I mean, it was a very exciting 10 minutes of that game. Let me tell you. We had 2 fights in there or something like that too. I'm pretty sure that had happened. I think
Veleno and then Petrie.
Yeah. And then we had 4 goals. I'm like, let me tell you, I was sitting on the edge of my seat. Then the rest of the game, I'm just sitting back praying to God that Lyon stays a brick wall because he did. I was like, exciting 10 minutes, then a heart attack for another 50. I'm like, we walked away with 2 points. I'm not upset with the outcome. We played well. I wish I could say for the next 2 games that's how it worked, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and so as we continue on, but to talk about it, Veleno did fight Bowen Byram. After a rough hit, Veleno did not take kind to that, so he put matters into his own hands. Good for him because he's someone who never really fights at all, so good to see that he's sticking up for himself. And then, Petrie fights Dylan Cozens, where Cozens was being a little butthole disturber. I can't swear right now because it's still early into the video, but Petrie had to show the young guy on the other team what's up and how to be respectful to his elders. And so good looks on them. Good dub overall. That was a much needed 2 points, just as much as any other point helps us out, right? In maintaining this wild card race to get the second spot. And so unfortunately, the Wings did lose to the Capitals on Tuesday. I had the pleasure of going to that game. Overall, very boring game, to say the least. I mean, I was on the edge of my seat the whole entire game, but a very boring game, to say the least, where you did have Alex Lyon in the net once again. Let's see here while I pull everything up. The Washington Capitals opened up the scoring. They got the first 2 goals, even first period, right? They did a good job of shutting down. Both teams were battling back and forth with some good opportunities, but the Washington Capitals were able to get goals up on the board in the second period, where both of them came in that period. One from Dylan Strome, one from Alex Ovechkin, where the Alex Ovechkin one, to me, it hurt because Moritz Seider blew up tire skating backwards, and that's how Alex Ovechkin was able to get the shot off and get the goal, right? And then you have Patrick Kane scoring with less than 2 seconds left. It was 1.6 seconds left or something like that. I was already up and leaving the arena by the time he scored. I was like, dude, really? Come on. You could have done that at least 2 minutes ago, and you could have pulled the goalie and done something about it. But Red Wings had this game. I mean, 43 shots to Washington's 23. You won on the faceoffs, 52% to 48. No conversions on the power play. The power play looks stale, as it does all the time. I mean, it's always flipping back and forth. Hits even, 22 to 23, and then block shots. You had 18 to Washington's 26. So, you were out shooting, but the quality of shots were not there. Carlo, you mentioned how almost every shot, it looked like it was going right into the logo of the goalie. And that's exactly what it looked like for me as well.
Right there.
Sick logo.
Right around here.
Right
around there. I think they were shooting right here the whole time. Frustrating. The most frustrating game for me. That was tough.
No, it really was. I mean, for this game, the Red Wings, this was a very, very important game because this is a team that you're in the wild card race with, right? And so getting a point definitely would have helped, but since you walked out empty-handed, you fell in the standings a little bit. We're slowly climbing back up with the win last night, but it was very doom and gloom from here after this loss. Derek, what did you think about the game?
I mean, I was pretty happy with the performance of the Red Wings and all. They controlled the game. They looked like the better team out there in general. But Carlos said, they were just sending fluffs into the goalie's stomach the entire night, making Lindgren look like a goddamn god out there. It's like, he's not that good. We get that Washington, most of their games, there's a reason they're in their spot right now with the goal differential they have of negative 30 something still. It's because they win these 0-1, 1 or lose 1-0 games. It's basically what it is. Their goalie's good, but at the same time, it's like they don't produce anything on the front end, and we had every chance possible, and we just couldn't do anything with it. Was it a bad game? No, but the outcome could have been different if we had a little bit more effort put into it, I think. But
yeah, and the Red Wings had plenty of opportunities to score, and they just couldn't. They couldn't get the puck luck that they needed. The pucks were bouncing pretty awkwardly for them, but they also couldn't corral a pass to save their lives. I mean, good on Alex Lyon. He posted a .913 save percentage, saved 21 out of the 23 shots against. So he was probably by far the best player. But I wanted to touch on Lucas Raymond again because he did get another assist. This kid just keeps on lighting it up, and we'll go more into it as we continue on. But yeah, Lucas Raymond is becoming the star that we absolutely needed him to be in that regard. And so we're going to move on to the Pittsburgh Penguins game, where the Red Wings did lose 5-6 in overtime. I guess I really had there's no excuse for this game. It was very back and forth up until the end going into overtime, but we really, really needed the 2 points out of this one. And so going into it, the Pittsburgh Penguins did open up the scoring in the first period thanks to Drew O'Connor. Then Lucas Raymond comes back. He gets a goal for his 27th. Chris Letang breaks the tie, making it 2-1. Lucas Raymond comes in clutch again, tying the game back up for his 28th. Then Sidney Crosby comes in, dazzles the world once again because that's just how good of a player he is. Then Brian Rust comes along, makes it 4-2. Jeff Petrie, out of all players, finally gets a goal after a long-waited time, thanks to Mo Seider and Daniel Sprong. Then Jeff Carter makes it 5-3. Dylan Larkin makes it 4-5, thanks to an assist by Lucas Raymond. And then Lucas Raymond gets the hat trick to tie the game 5-5. And then you go into overtime, and Erik Karlsson seals the deal. And I have a little bit to say about that Erik Karlsson goal. I am very displeased with some of the effort level that went into this game. There was one point where I was kind of screaming at the TV with Simon Edvinsson. He wasn't skating towards the puck. He glided towards the puck. And that's exactly what happened with the Erik Karlsson goal, where Shane Gosper was out there, and he did not take any strides whatsoever to try to get the Karlsson to stop the shot, and just stuck out his stick gliding towards him. It was very annoying, and it really pissed me off. So
you talking about Shane, or are you talking about Simon? Sorry.
Shane. Now talk about Shane. Simon did it earlier in the game, but Shane was the one out there when Karlsson scored the overtime winning goal. But that's kind of what I'm noticing with some of these defensemen, or just, I guess, some of the players in general. I've seen it with Perron, so I can't just throw out the defense as a whole. It's the team as a whole. When the team gets stuck out there in a position in their own zone, a lot of these players just tend to glide. They don't skate. They need to utilize their feet more, get going, get to the puck, and start winning some games where you can get 2 points instead of one. Because you walked out of here with one, you got lucky enough to even get the one. You should have walked out of here with two. The effort level didn't, it was there, but all thanks to Lucas Raymond, who in this game, he finished with 4 overall points, which was absolutely incredible. Going in depth about the stats of this game, the Red Wings outshot the Pittsburgh Penguins 30-27. One in the faceoff dot, 55% to 45. No one converted on their power plays. We had 22 hits to their 16, and we had 19 block shots to their 13. Carlo, let's talk about the bright spots of this game. Talk about Lucas Raymond. What did you like?
Yeah, I mean,
about it overall.
Lucas Raymond, he just completely elevated everything about himself in that game. He really put the team on his back, and he went ham. And it was amazing to see, and good for him for doing it, but super exciting for everybody in the Wings Nation, because this kid is a star. Like, he is a gamer. Like, he's just unreal. Another bright spot for me, I know he had that one play where it wasn't incredible, but another bright spot for me was yet again Simon Edvinsson logging over 20 minutes of ice time. Yeah, he did have that one defensive lapse, but I'm okay with that. I would rather Simon Edvinsson have a defensive lapse than Shane Gostisbehere having a defensive lapse, which he has. And I'm not going to go to the dark spots yet. I want to keep the bright spots going. But yeah, Edvinsson and Raymond for me were great. For Raymond was great for 60 minutes. Edvinsson was good for, call it 55 minutes. I mean, he had that little mishap. But one thing for me with that game, though, and I'm going to slowly segue into kind of the things I think that they could have done a little bit differently. First, Alex Lyon, not his best game at all. I think there was like 2 or 3 goals that he should have had, especially the Ovechkin one. He should have had that. Or Ovechkin one. The talking about Pittsburgh.
Well, you're not wrong. He should have had that OV one.
He should have had that one. He should have had that one moments ago. But against Pittsburgh, there was like 2 or 3 goals. I can't remember. I think it was O'Connor or Rust's goal where I'm like, he should have had that. And I'm sure he wanted it back. And then the other dark spot for me in that game was kind of how you said it, where just like overall defense, just not winning the battles. You know what I mean? Kind of getting hemmed in. And it all seems to start with defense. And when they start playing on their heels. I mean, I know that's easy to say because that's typically how it goes, but like, man, it shows. Like you put like a good defense and a good goaltender with this offense in this group, we're clinched, boys. Like that's, you know what I mean? And I think that game against Pittsburgh really exposed that.
I mean, it's just a crazy thing to see. Like we had the forwards, the situation. It was pretty well set for this game. Thank God for Raymond. 3 goals, great hat trick. Love to see that. It just sucks that hat trick is what pretty much saved the game and put it into overtime.
You're right.
And like you said, Lyon, man, I don't know what it is. I don't think we should be playing him as much as we do because this is the outcome half the time with a .778% save percentage out there for the game. Atrocious. And Zach, with what you're saying, everyone trying to poke check. Like I feel like we saw this last year. It's like a reoccurring theme towards the end of the season. Everyone's getting tired. Let me tell you, when I was playing hockey, the only reason I would be poke checking and glide is because my ass can't move anymore and I'm just dead on the ice.
Yeah.
Like
that's what it is.
Like our guys are just out of shape right now.
Yeah, and that's the consistency of this team, right? Is that once they get in their own zone and they can't clear the puck, the effort level to get the puck out, it goes away because they just can't. And it's not due to the other team not allowing them to get out. I think the decision making, because there was one opportunity where, and I can't exactly remember which game this was. It could have been for the Pittsburgh Penguin game, but there was an opportunity where Mo Seider was behind the net on the boards. Basically, he corralled the puck as it was dumped in. He had the opportunity to pass it along the boards going up or pass it behind the net along the boards to Sherrod, who was on the other side, right? And so he chose to do neither. He gets hit by the opposing team, and then I believe that created a scoring opportunity, if not a goal, at the end of the whole entire shift.
I do remember that.
Yeah, and so I don't know if that's a system, if some of these players just don't know how to make the right decisions. I think it's a little bit of both. Probably mainly the system, though, because the time and time again, that's the reason why the Red Wings can never get out of their own zone when they get stuck, is because they're not making the right passes to get out of the zone, or even when they're just trying to chip it out. They're not chipping it high enough. They're not chipping it the right way. Other teams are able to pick it off and then get the scoring opportunities or the goals that they need to. So it's bad. It pisses me off once again. Like it's just really bad. But yeah, Derek, Alex Lyon, this game, not one of his better games. I agree with both of you when you both say like there were definitely some goals that he should have saved. Yeah, most definitely. But the defense definitely has to step up too, right? Would you guys might disagree with me, and that's okay if you disagree with me. If we were to go into next season with the same tandem, let's just say it's Billy Husso and it's Alex Lyon, right? We're pushing James Reimer out of the picture. You're just having the 2 goaltenders. And if we just revamped the defense, do you think that this team would be better and the goaltending would be better? Maybe by like a game or two, at least.
Yeah,
maybe.
Literally. I think it's like a 6 point difference. You know what I mean? Like I don't think those goalies are. Okay, so I want to correct myself. When I said Alex Ovechkin, I was actually talking about Erik Karlsson in overtime. That goal was similar to the Alex Ovechkin goal, so I kind of crossed my wires. But that's my point here. You have to save that.
Yeah.
With a great defense, maybe that play doesn't happen. Who knows? But I mean, it was a quick shot. So even if you had Nick Lindstrom and Brian Rafalski out there, that shot's probably still getting off. And it's now down to the goaltender. And he didn't save that. And I don't know if Husso would save that. I mean, Husso couldn't even take warm-ups in GR. And he kind of had that setback again. So, I mean, I hope he's okay. Well, I don't want to digress too much, but I think we need a better goaltender, a very much better goaltender. And then obviously we need some tweaks on defense. 100%. You can deploy the same forward group. Look at the goals. Look at the goals they scored over the course of the last, 4 games? They have 14 goals. I mean, that's pretty decent. Better goaltender, better defensive group, I think would be a lot more points for us than just having better defense.
So I'd say if we revamped the decor and kept the same goalies, it would be slightly better like Carlson. Not much.
Couple points.
Maybe. I mean, obviously we saw what Husso did at the beginning of the year too. We had a ungodly goals percentage going in with his goals against him being slightly higher than what it should be. So I don't know if I'm still going to, I mean, our forwards core is the same. Is it going to be tweaked probably next year? Yeah. I see a few guys probably not coming back, but hopefully that means a few guys are coming up, so that might increase it or keep it to a more leveled expectations. I don't really know. But I don't think it's going to do enough to make it worth our while, really. So
maybe we'll just have to go into the point system that you suggested, Derek, because you look at all these other teams. Once again, all the OT losses and the free points that they get, we definitely would be in a better position today. So, but one thing that I forgot to mention is that Andrew Kopp did break his cheekbone in the Washington Capitals game, and then Wallman and Raz have continued to be out still to this day. We are recording on April 14th, Sunday. It's currently 11:50 a.m. So, yeah, no Andrew Kopp still, no Wallman, no Raz out. And then going into the Pittsburgh Penguins game, you probably could have used at least, Rasmussen and Kopp out there, I guess, for the PK side of things. But I mean, even kind of like how I said, let's see here. No one converted on their power play. So I guess maybe at the end of the day, you really didn't need them. But the more bodies, the better, because now you have Christian Fischer, Zach Aston Reese, who's the other guy that I can't think of, Austin Zarnik out there on the fourth line. But I will say, not saying that we're jumping into the next game, which was last night against the Toronto Maple Leafs, but it was the top line for the Red Wings and the fourth line that was by far the best two lines against the Toronto Maple Leafs.
High energy. I did notice that. Absolutely.
They looked, that line looked a lot better than they did in this Pittsburgh Penguins game, but I can't be mad at them because they're all, outside of Christian Fischer, they're all just the really depth forwards, right? The 13th and 14th forwards of this team. But, at the end of the day, the Red Wings ended up getting a point. They still maintained to stay in this race, but this was a clear game. Once again, I mean, you're battling with the Washington Capitals and the Pittsburgh Penguins. You technically lost to both of them. In games where it matters, and I'll follow suit with you, Carlo, because you've brought this up time and time again, Derek Lalonde was outcoached. These were against two teams that you are battling for to get and hold on to that second wildcard spot, and neither the players or the coaches could figure out a way on how to get the wins. So, to me, I partially want to put the blame on Derek Lalonde. It's just bad. It's just horrible.
I mean, you partially want to put it on him. I fully want to put it on him.
You can.
I don't. Yeah. I that's just me because I just the way what I've been seeing and hearing in his post games. I don't know if he's trolling us. Like I'm actually like questioning. I'm like, is this guy just trolling everybody? Because like this doesn't make any sense what he's saying. He's just constantly waving the white towel in every post game. And the one against Pittsburgh, I'm going to say it. He told the media that he usually doesn't address the team after a game. Pardon me? Like, what? How do you not? But I will preface, he did say that he felt the need to address the team because they got a point. So it's like, let's go and address the team and rah because they got a point. Interesting way to go about it.
Congratulations on the participation award.
Dude, this honestly, like, I feel like Derek Lalonde, and I don't want to get into this too much. I just feel like he's turning this team into a bunch of divas. And it's not, that's just not what this game is calling for. Like, we need some hard-nosed, blue-collar Detroit muscle. That's what we need. And you don't address a team after a post game? Holy smokes. So what do you do? What do you do? Is David Perron the head coach of this team? I don't know. I mean, I just don't know. But you partially put it on him. I fully put it on him. Again, I hope at this point that he is trolling everybody, the media, the fans, everybody who gets access to listening to him speak. I hope it's all white smoke. I fear that it's not. So for that reason, I do put those losses fully on him. Those 2 losses against Arizona, fully on him. There's 4 games. There are some other games within that losing streak we had back in March that are 100% on him. If you're going 7 games losing and you're not addressing the team after the games, then it's 100% on you. So that's why I'm all in on this fully being on Derek Lalonde, because that's just insane. I've never heard that before. But anyways.
Yeah, and we could touch a little bit more on that here moving forward when we get into the main topic, because we will be talking about the poll that we did for the whole entire week. So let's jump into the game that happened last night against the Toronto Maple Leafs, where the Red Wings, once again, they did win in overtime thanks to Captain Dylan Larkin, OT hero. And we obviously have some stats to talk about that as well once we get over this game. But yeah, going in and talking about it, let's see here. I got to re-pull it back up, so I'll just edit this out. Yeah, Alex DeBrincat had 2 goals. Mitch Marner got 3 points that game, and Dylan Larkin, he ended up getting 2 points as well. Mitch Marner opened up the scoring. Honestly, I thought it was all downhill from there, but it was the complete opposite. But as Red Wing fans, we know that the Red Wings simply can't hold on to a 3-goal lead and just walk away from that, right? They like to play the emotional roller coaster with us fans. And so going and talking about Alex DeBrincat finally scoring in what seems like 20 games, I think was the last time that he scored, somewhere around there, which is pretty insane. Then you got Simon Edvinsson coming along, making it to the 1 with a nice give and go to David Perron to pass back to him in the slot, and his celebration was...
Wait a second. Spend some time on Simon Edvinsson because he deserves it. That was amazing. And you nailed it, dude. That celly. That was so awesome.
Yeah, if you guys have not seen that, I did post that on our Twitter. That's also on our YouTube as a short video. I should have posted it last night. I posted it this morning, but for y'all, you guys can enjoy that. I believe that's his 3rd career overall goal. I could be wrong, or maybe the 3rd goal of the season. It was one of those 2, but no, overall, just Simon Edvinsson, this whole entire game, he was very noticeable. Every game, he looks more and more noticeable. He's doing exactly what he needs to do. He's being very rough. And at one point, he was, I don't know if it was Austin Matthews. Yeah, it was Austin Matthews. Him and Austin Matthews were kind of talking back and forth to one another. I don't know if they were talking shit or whatnot. I kind of hope they were.
Dude, Matthews laid him out. I don't remember if it was the 1st or 2nd period, but Matthews laid him out. And then I think the chirping started at that point. It was behind the net. It was like, oh my God. But yeah, that was Simon Edvinsson looked amazing. And you know what I will say quickly? I was watching the game in Canada where I'm at, and I only had the Canadian feed. I didn't have Ken and Mick as much as I really wanted to. So Ken and Mick, I apologize. If I had it my way, I would have definitely been watching you guys. They were all over Simon Edvinsson. Like the Sportsnet broadcast. So Elliot Friedman, I can't remember anybody else. But yeah, I mean, they were all over Simon Edvinsson. So, I mean, he definitely stood out. He looked great. And he definitely deserves the praise that he gets for that performance, because he looked awesome in that play. His IQ, everything. He looked fantastic.
Yeah, and even on the penalty kill, he's been doing a lot of good work out there on the PK, especially with Wallman and Rasmussen and Kopp being out. All three of those guys, I'm pretty sure, play on the PK. So for him to step in like that, I think that's huge. And now it's kind of starting to look like, okay, what do we do for next season on the defensive end? Because now we technically have 4 left-handed defensemen. Well, 5 with Shane Ghostbear even too. I mean, that's technically 4, so my bad. Well, anyways, yeah, there's a lot of decisions that have to be made going into the offseason on what the Wings got to do. But continuing on, before I go down the rabbit hole, Alex DeBrincat was able to get the second goal of the game, making it 3-1 off of the power play. I don't remember who was that. That was JT Compher who originally shot it on that, and then it rebounded over to him, and he basically got the open net goal, which was sick.
Yeah.
So congratulations to him for getting that done. Then you got Daddy P squeaking one in with less than 20 seconds left. Sick pass by Patrick Kane, by the way, from behind the net, being covered by a dude, and then just getting it to him, and then David Perron, Daddy P, able to squeak it in. So good looks on them. But this is where the roller coaster starts to go down, boys and girls. And so that is when the Maple Leafs in the second period alone score 3 goals. But I will say this, boys, after the first goal that the Red Wings got scored on by Mitch Marner, it was a power play goal. And I instantly said, stay off the PK and you will win this game. So what happens after the Nicholas Robertson goal? Patrick Kane gets a nice little high stick and a 4-minute PK to go out there and kill, and drawing some blood. And so Patrick Kane, you almost were the sole reason that we lost this game. And I'm very glad that it didn't come down to that, because then, like Carlos said, we would have to offer you an 8 x $950,000 contract, and you would take it, because we will hog tie you and force you to sign it. He will be stuck with the team, unfortunately. But then you go into the third period scoreless. The Red Wings did a fantastic job. However, Patrick Kane did put us in a really bad situation where there was less than 3 minutes left to go. Thank God, because I was saying, like, dude, if the Toronto Maple Leafs are able to kill off 2 minutes before the Red Wings touch the puck and this power play goes on, I will go absolutely insane. Luckily, the Toronto Maple Leafs went off sides. I don't know exactly what the time was, but I do know it was under 3 minutes left. Red Wings were able to kill the penalty, which was sick. Good. Then who was it? It was Lucas Raymond who got tripped up when there was like 10 seconds left, I believe.
No, it was DeBrincat. DeBrincat got tripped up.
DeBrincat got tripped up, forcing the boys to go into a power play with 12 seconds left, I believe it was. And they were very close, very, very, very close to actually ending it before it went into overtime.
Yeah, that was awesome.
One thing I did want to bring up was Lucas Raymond almost broke it too, where they could have won in regulation. He was down the slot. He was able to get an open shot, and Samsonov made an incredible save. I will give him credit. Toronto Maple Leafs media fans, they rag on their goaltenders all the time. Even Ken and Mick, they were saying like, oh yeah, just back in December, they were booing Samsonov, and now look at them. They're thriving him for making all these saves, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, all right, whatever, go blow it out your buttholes, honestly. Yeah. So the Red Wings had ample opportunities to close this game out. Fortunately, they were able to just in overtime, where the Red Wings go into the power play and going into overtime 4-on-3 with Shane Ghostbear setting it up to Patrick Kane. Patrick Kane passing it to Dylan Larkin, who's really low slot in front of the net. There was a Toronto player right behind him too. I'm kind of surprised that he didn't really play hard defense trying to cross-check him out of there. But Larkin was able to get the tip on it, force it in the 5-hole, scores, and that celebration by Larkin too.
Oh man, he was beautiful. Fired up. And I think to your point there about the defenseman, Patrick Kane's pass was money. Like money. It was. And I don't think the defenseman could have even reacted to that. And that's kind of why that puck ended up in the net. Like that was perfect, right on the stick of Larkin. He did literally nothing. Actually, Kane set up Fabry in a similar game. It was 2 or 3 weeks ago. I don't know if you guys remember. It wasn't OT. I think it was regulation. But Patty Kane put it right on Fabry's stick. And Fabry literally just stood still and it just bounced off and went in. Same play with Larkin, and then finish it off, Zach, because that celly that Larkin had. That was just holy moly.
Yeah, I didn't know what to do at that moment. I was like, do I celebrate? Do I record this goal? Because I want to get it posted on Twitter and YouTube. Yeah. If you guys haven't seen that, go ahead. They are on both of those. So go ahead and like those and share those with all your friends. It's even on Instagram too, if you follow us. So overall great game. I mean, the shots 32-36 in favor of Toronto. We won in the faceoff percentage 59-41. Power plays, we converted on 2 out of the 3 to Toronto's 2 of 4. Hits 41-35. Everyone on the Red Wings team, I kid you not, it seemed like that they were out there wanting to destroy the Toronto Maple Leafs. Fabry had a few hits. I saw him in one hit. I was like, whoa, holy crap, Fabry. Like, I thought he was going to break the glass at one point. Moritz Seider, he had 8 hits. Yeah. Jeff Dietrich had 7.
8 hits. Wow.
Even someone like Christian Fischer had 3 hits. Alex DeBrincat had 3 hits. Fabry had 5. Everyone on this team was hitting. Awesome. There were a couple that didn't, but going back to what I was saying earlier, that fourth line, if it wasn't like, if you excluded the first line, that was by far our best line. I even said it at one point during the game. I asked you guys, I was like, is Patrick Kane even playing? Because the second line just didn't seem like that they were even out there at all. I kept on seeing the first line and I kept seeing the fourth line. It was absolutely fantastic. I loved it. And I thought at one point that they were going to get a goal or two because the opportunities that they were getting. It was actually Daniel Sprong, Zach Aston Reese, and Austin Czarnik. I don't know why I keep forgetting Austin Czarnik, Jesus. But Daniel Sprong on the fourth line, bro, he was controlling that line. I thought he looked fantastic. Yeah,
he did play a lot better of a game than his last few, and I noticed that the same way. Like he was driving that line, which was really, really good to see.
Yeah, it really was, and I kind of feel bad for Daniel Sprong because 3 months ago, everyone was clamorating, saying like, hey, we need to sign this guy really quickly. Did Red Wing fans turn on Daniel Sprong? Derek, I kind of want to hear from you.
I don't think we turned on him. I just think his true colors are actually showing now. Like, we're getting what he actually is and not the overshooting percentage that the Red Wings were. Because for a while there, everybody was shooting over the top, scoring over the top. Obviously, Sprung's a good player, but I don't think he produces at that 20-goal mark every season, or otherwise he wouldn't be on our fourth line right now. And there are probably a lot more offers coming after him. I don't think we've turned. I just think we are at that even spot where, like, okay, we know what we have, and we know where he's going to be utilized best right now. And fourth line, he seems to be thriving down there. He seems to be owning it. So I can't say that's the wrong decision right now.
Yeah, I just remember a lot of people, especially on social media, a lot of them were saying, hey, we need to sign this guy really quick. Like, he's definitely a top 6 player. I kind of brought it up a couple episodes ago. I believe that he's very much a one-dimensional player. We haven't really seen too much out of him. He's been a healthy scratch a couple times. Would I like to bring him back? Sure, but it would be for bottom 6. I'm not putting him in the maybe middle 6, but he's not a top 6 guy to me, in my opinion. I don't believe that
Sprong,
yeah.
I don't think he's coming back, boys.
Yeah, I don't think he even wants to come back. I think he definitely wants to go to a team that's going to offer him term with some cash on it. And for us, we're just not in a spot to do that, especially now that we got a lot of fans saying like, hey, we need a youth movement. We need to start bringing up the young guys. We can't keep on bringing on the 27-year-olds, the 28-year-olds, the 29-year-olds. You can still do that as long as they're like Jake Gensels or, players of that caliber. So Steve Yzerman needs to, if you can get the Daniel Sprongs on the short term, the 1-year deals for cheap cap, keep doing that. But not the Andrew Kopps, not the GT Comfort type of players, right? The Red Wings need to start doing some changes in this offseason. I think now we have enough veterans. I think now, like, I'm trying not to go too deep into another rabbit hole here, but players like Lucas Raymond and Sider, to me, I can kind of consider them vets now. You have Dylan Larkin, Alex DeBrincat's been in the league for quite some time. You have Andrew Kopp, JT Comfort, Ben Sherratt. You still have Ole Mata. You have all these guys. So you don't need to bring any more from free agency unless they're top 6 talent. Before I continue on, I definitely want to change the subject here and talk about, because I missed this, but during the Penguins game, Larkin was able to reach the 500-point mark of his career, and he did that in 649 games, which is awesome. I think that's fantastic. Is he a point-per-game player? No. Could he be? I think he still could be.
Yeah.
By the time his career is over, as long as, like, unfortunately, the way that the season worked, yes, he did get injured. There were some other unfortunate circumstances that happened this year to where he was not able to play. However, I still think that Dylan Larkin easily could have been closer to the 40-goal mark this season had he not missed some games. And I firmly do believe that he could be a point-per-game player by the time that his career comes to an end. If not a point-per-game player, he's going to be right underneath it, much like how he is right now. And so he's getting very close. Reimer did play in his 500th game last night, closing it out with a win. The former Toronto Maple Leaf goaltender himself. So congratulations to him. Larkin also gets career-high 33 goals. It's his 28th career game-winning goal, and his 9th career overtime goal, and tied with Brendan Shanahan and Steve Yzerman for second most in Red Wings history.
Claps.
Well, I feel like that's going to be broken here very shortly.
Yeah, I would assume so too. Yeah, I would assume that gets broken here pretty soon as well. And Dylan Larkin, he is by far the heart and soul of this team. Very thankful that he is the captain of this team. I don't know who else it would be, honestly. Fabry, because he's the second longest tenured Red Wing on this team, technically.
Stop it.
But then you got Moritz Seider, 200 blocks and 200 hits, and he's the first defensive player to do that in the last 16 years.
Big claps for Moritz. I do want to say too, did you see him shut down Matthews in the third period last night?
Absolutely.
Because honestly, Seider is a big reason why Detroit got those 2 points. Huge reason why Detroit got those 2 points. He was playing phenomenal. Those 8 hits, he had that tenacity. And you know what? When the game started, I will say real quick, I was watching it with my buddy, and I said, keep an eye on Seider tonight, right before the game started. And he's like, why? And I'm like, he's had the flu, and he didn't have a great last game. Like, his game against Pittsburgh was okay. His game against Washington wasn't that great. He played unreal last night, and those 8 hits really came through big, and his shutdown, like his role was just incredible. So congrats on that milestone, Moritz. That was phenomenal. 200 hits, 200 blocks, shutting down AM 34, not letting him get 70 against Detroit, which I think everybody was betting on. Everybody. Because, I mean, that's just what Detroit does. They just give up milestones to anybody. Whether it's your first goal of your life or your 70th goal of the season, that's just what they do. But it didn't happen, and we got the dub. And I do give a big credit to that to Moritz Seider, because he played a very good game. So great job, Moritz.
Credit to the whole team. Honestly, I will say that even though they did give up a 4-1 lead in this game to make it 4-4 going into overtime, up against a Toronto Maple Leafs team who is dead set in the second or third spot in the East, depending on who keeps winning and who doesn't.
I think Toronto, they're locked in third now. Pretty sure they're locked in third no matter what happens.
Yeah, Toronto's
they don't get home ice advantage.
Yeah, Toronto's a team that's no joke. That's a team that, former Detroit Red Wing Tyler Bertuzzi, Austin Matthews, William Nylander, however you pronounce it, Mitch Marner, Max Domi, Morgan Riley. They got some great players over there. So good job by the Red Wings team. And I'm sure Toronto wanted to play spoiler too. I'm sure that's exactly what they wanted to do. Not only did they want to earn points to keep moving up, but every team wants to play spoiler if they can. That's part of their job too. They don't want anyone to have an easy win. And so good looks on the Red Wings for closing it out. Toronto, I hate you for putting it into overtime and making my BPMs go up during the game towards the end there.
Oh.
But boys,
Nuts.
Yeah, it was nuts. Boys, I think we're good on that. So let's we won't be recording until the season is over now. So our next episode probably won't be until Thursday. We're trying to get back into the weekly episodes, twice weekly, I should say. So next episode will probably come on Thursday, right after the back-to-back games of the Buffalo Sabres, the Montreal Canadiens. What do the Red Wings need to do to get? Well, yes, they need to get dubs. Yes, they do. But what do they need to do to get the dubs? Would you play Alex Lyon in back-to-back games?
Yeah. Honestly, after watching Reimer last night, even though it was against Toronto, obviously a very good team, we have 2 games left. I'm just praying that the line that we know and love at the beginning when he got thrown in at Sweden pops out for these last 2 games that are probably the most important. I mean, everyone look at the bottom there, the rundown. Every single game down there has been the most important games.
Yeah, for real.
And guess look where we at right now. The same exact spot before Buffalo on last Sunday.
Yeah.
So we got to throw what we have out there the best we possibly can do, and Lions the best we have. So he's had a game break. He didn't have to play against Toronto. He doesn't have to play again till what? Tomorrow. So
Monday.
Like a 4-day break. It's all I can think of. I gotta play him. I wish he was gonna be playing on my fantasy team, but that's all dead in the water for me this week. So good looks, Jeff.
I'm just now realizing that earlier I said that the next games would be Tuesday and Wednesday this upcoming week. Carlo, thanks for telling me that it's on. I thought the 15th was on Tuesday.
You know what, guys? Listen, we all deserve a break today. We're all flying high. It was a huge win last night. Maybe got a little later into the night before we wanted to go to bed, and we're just trying to have some fun here. But it is Monday and Tuesday, so maybe we record Wednesday.
Yeah, maybe we will record Wednesday because Matt wanted to finally hop on an episode. So yeah, we'll probably record Wednesday, and Matt Leslie will make an appearance on an episode more than likely. But Carlo, same question to you, I guess. I mean, I already asked you on your thoughts about it before we started recording, but for the viewers, for the fans, you starting Lyon in back-to-back, or how would you perceive going into these next 2 games? Real quickly for myself, I think you have to start Lyon for at least one of them.
Yeah.
It really depends on how that first game goes. I mean, you definitely should be playing Lyon. The first one is at home. Then the second one is away. I'm very curious, and I was even trying to conjure everything up in my head. I was like, so if they play at home, do they stay at home for the night and then they just fly in the morning, or do they fly at night? And I'm just trying to think, like, how are the boys going to be mentally prepared? Like, do they sleep in their own beds? Do they sleep on the plane? Like, are they going to be well rested for the second of the back-to-back? Like,
yeah, that's
what do they need to do? But back to the original question, would you start Lyon in the back-to-back games for both of them?
No, I don't think I would. And I just keep looking at that Pittsburgh game. And I keep looking at that goal that Ovi scored. I don't think I'm starting Lyon back-to-back. I think he's definitely getting one of the starts. He's probably going to get the one at home, which is on Monday. Now, listen, if he shuts it down, is there a chance that I can see a world where, he's going to go again on the Tuesday? Sure, absolutely, right? Anybody would probably think that. But I going into this stuff, like on an off day like today, I don't see the logic or the reason to start Lyon back-to-back, considering his play of late. I would hate to be making that decision as well. But I think we really need to see what happens on Monday, boys. We really need to see who starts Monday and how do they play. That's going to be crucial.
I mean, I feel like this decision would be a lot easier if the other option besides Lyon wasn't Reimer.
There you see, like that. That's very, yeah. You're absolutely right.
So one and that's a good segue, Derek, because I'm gonna talk about that right after this. So I kind of want to talk about some of the key players that need to show up. Lucas Raymond needs to continue to show up. Dylan Larkin needs
He's
to
going
continue
to.
to show up. Lucas Raymond in his last 10 games, 5 goals, 4 assists for 9 points. In his last 5 games, it's 4
Bro,
goals.
Lucas
4
Raymond
assists
is
for
the
8.
reason why we're here. He's the reason
Yes,
why we're
100%.
so happy today. It's 100% on him.
Yeah, 100%. Captain Dylan Larkin needs to show up. Alex DeBrincat, now that he's got the monkey off his back for the goal scoring, he needs to show up a little bit more than what he has. Not trying to call him out or anything, but the goal scoring definitely needs to start showing up, right? Some of these other players too, they need to start showing up, especially on the bottom 6. I mean, if that fourth line with Sprong, Aston Reese, and Zarnik can somehow get a goal or 2 throughout these last 2 games, I think that would be perfect. I mean, talking about Dylan Larkin once, or like I mentioned, in his last 10 games, he's got 5 goals, 6 assists for 11 points. In his last 5, he's got 4 goals, 3 assists for 7 points. If it's not Raymond, it's Dylan Larkin. If it's not Dylan Larkin, it's Lucas Raymond. They're switching on and off. And this is exactly what we've been needing. And Lucas Raymond is entering his God mode. His clutch gene is activated. This kid is absolutely on fire, and Red Wings fans should be excited about him in the upcoming years. And
he's 21.
As time goes on, boys,
21 years old.
His contract is looking
cool.
His contract is looking thicker and thicker as the games continue on. Like he is gonna get stacks. Honestly, at this point, I could see both. Yeah, I could see him and Sider both getting the same amount at this point, technically. Right around the $8 million range. I really could. Everyone has their own thoughts on that, but you know, we'll just have to wait and see. But if you're going for the long-term 8-year deals, yeah, it could be one of those situations where it was like Zach Parise and Ryan Suter back in the day with Minnesota Wild, where they both signed at the same time, same price, same everything. It could be exactly like that, where Lucas Raymond, Mo Sider are Parise and Suter. So, but good segue, Derek, because Husso, going into Red Wings news, was supposed to start for the Grand Rapids Griffins the other night, and he pulled himself out, told the trainer that he wasn't ready to go like 10 minutes before the game was supposed to start, and then Sebastian Costa had to go in. Are you guys worried? Because I am. I'm very worried for Husso. Not so much as for the Red Wings, but I'm worried for Husso. This could be a situation where, yeah, you'll have the whole entire summer to recuperate, do whatever. Ever since he had his baby, he has not been the same, though. Not saying that the baby is a curse or anything, you know, congratulations. Hope your kid's doing well. However, this could be something much bigger. And I'm kind of worried that he might not be the same ever again. Like, it could be that bad, because now this is the second stint that you're pushing him into GR. The first time he did well, posted a shutout, but now he couldn't even go in. And it continues to be the same issue. It's a lower body issue. So are you guys worried?
Yes.
I mean, it's hard not to be at this point. Like, he's been out, 3/4 of the season? Left during Sweden, played played 1 game, and that was it. Like,
he started in 19 games, 3.55 save percent or goals against, and an 8.92 save percentage. About the same numbers as it was last season.
Hey, that's even more.
Yeah, way less games.
Those numbers.
Yeah. So we're all in agreement that we're all worried. So that's good.
Yeah, we're scared.
I mean, not good.
Question:
but...
Who would you rather have as a backup? So let's say Steve goes out and signs or trades for whatever, gets a stud goalie. Let's call it Markstrom. Who's your backup? Who's so reliant?
I think you have to either play line or if wow.
Got him.
It's probably,
I got him. I don't know either.
Well, what I'm trying to say is it's going to be Lyon, but here's what I'm trying to figure out is, do you want to buy out Husso, or do you just want to put him on a long-term injured reserve?
Or do you try to package him up in a trade for Markstrom to give Calgary a goalie, and we get that big contract off our list and have Lyon's $950K for the next year?
You could do that, but then you're paying to move that contract alone. And so whether if that's in picks or in prospects, you're going to have to pay, because I can't imagine any team is going to feel confident, any more confident than what we do for Husso, if he can
No,
actually come
absolutely not.
back.
Yeah, they're going
But
to
the
feel
good
less
part is
confident than us.
we do have a lot of prospects and picks to play around with. I can tell you right now, all of our prospects, even though our system is beautiful looking, they're not all going to make it up. So obviously we want to do something with them too.
Yeah, I
Yeah, there
mean,
might be some play there.
yeah, for sure. No, yeah, whether if that's Markstrom or any other goalie,
I
looking
just
at
threw out the name. I don't know. I just
Yeah,
threw it out there.
right. Yeah, not to just say that it is Markstrom that the Red Wings could be targeting, but I mean, just looking at the free agency class for goaltenders, it's really not there. And if you were to go out and get a different goaltender, it is definitely going to be via trade. I would definitely be on that train with Carlo, that it would probably be via trade. So, all right, it sounds like that we're all pretty much worried about Husso. That's awesome, but not really. So hopefully he comes around. Honestly, I really do hope so. But yeah, a lot of fans, and you guys will see that in the comments when we get into the main topics, that a lot of fans are kind of nervous about the goaltending situation. But moving along for Red Wings news, per Staffleets? Yeah, that sounds about right. The current probability to make the Stanley Cup playoffs in the East, the Islanders are 94.5% chance of making it. And it seems like that's how it's going to work out. So congratulations, Matthew, Leslie, and the Leslie family. Your Islanders hold the third in the Metropolitan, and they most likely will continue to hold on to it unless they lose out all their games somehow.
Which they
the remaining two
not.
that they have. So then let's see here. The Red Wings have a 65.8% chance, which is huge. Like yesterday, before the game, it was at like 20 something percent.
Yep.
Which is a huge jump, right?
Huge leap. Oh.
This is what surprises me, is that the Capitals are at 21.8%, and they're ahead of us.
So, it's got to be based on the schedule. Like, it's got to be based on who they're playing, right? Like, I mean, Detroit playing Montreal. Obviously, Detroit's heavily favored by a huge margin. So, Derek Lalonde, if you're listening, make sure you're in the room at all times. Please get fired up. Knock on some doors. Wake people up. Let's get these guys prepared. I have one question for you guys, actually. Zach, I don't know if you want to finish your thought, but I have a question for everybody, because I've been asking this for a couple of days now. Would you flip Patrick Kane and Lucas Raymond against Montreal for the next two games and have DeBrincat, Larkin, Kane, Perron, Comfer, Raymond, considering Raymond is now driving a line? Keep in mind, when Larkin was away and Raymond was surging, though he wasn't in the position taking the faceoffs, he was very much playing that center type of role because he was flying back to back check. So Perron obviously can't really do that. Comfer can. Comfer's an animal. But then you have Raymond as well, who can do that too. If it's me, I am absolutely putting Kane on the top line and letting Raymond drive that second line, because Kane hasn't really looked that great the past few games, boys, on that second line. He has not looked great.
You kind of, well, not kind of, you hit basically all the points that I was going to touch on. Yeah. And I think I would only do that because Raymond has I guess agility, or whatever you want to call it, because he is younger. Kane just doesn't have the stamina, agility, athleticism now because he is older that Lucas Raymond has. Lucas Raymond definitely has the advantage over him. So Lucas Raymond has the ability to backtrack, foretrack, do this and that on the ice where Patrick Kane can. And then with Comfer and then whoever they put on the left side, whether if that's Perron or someone else. Yeah, I would agree with you. I think you got to move Lucas Raymond down to the second line and create more opportunities that way, because like I said, you guys agreed with me, that first and fourth line were the only two lines that stood out to me in the Toronto Maple Leafs game. And so, yeah, if that's what you got to do to make the second line jump and stand out a little bit more, then absolutely do that.
I was going to say, I just get scared with the fact like we see them producing on that first line, but who's going to help Raymond get like that same production on the second line? Like, I don't see Perron making any of those passes that Larkin's making.
I think Lucas Raymond just makes it up on his own.
That's exactly what I'm thinking, man. Simon Edvinsson will find him and send him.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's so I'm right there with you, Carlo, to answer your question. I think that it would be best to put Lucas Raymond on the second. And that's not a demotion by any means. It's just that, hey, we need to make this roster or this starting lineup as
I think the word you're looking for is depth. That's
right. Depth. The favorite word by Derek Lalonde, depth. We need to have depth up and down the lineup. And so by bumping Lucas Raymond down to the second, yeah, you absolutely have to do that. And obviously there's always going to be line jumping, right? If it's not working, then push Lucas Raymond back.
Yeah, dude, I don't even care if it's for a whole game. I just want to see the look. Yeah. And you know what? We saw it last night in overtime. DeBrincat, Larkin, Kane, and Ghost Bear. That was who he sent out to start the OT on the power play. So I don't know if that's a transition into the games against Montreal. I'm not saying that we need to see it, for 60 minutes, but I would love to see some looks of Kane on the top line and Raymond down on the second line. Again, you nailed it. Not at all a demotion, but if anything, a pat on the back to say, Ray, go drive the second line and don't make it a second line, make it a 1B line, because that's essentially what that could very well turn out to be.
Correct.
So yeah, that's just my thought. I would love to see that look and see what happens, and it's just to get Kane sparked, because DeBrincat hasn't scored in 20 games. You put him on the top line, he gets 3 assists against Pittsburgh, he gets 2 goals against Toronto. Boom, he's sparked. Let's give Kane the same spark, because we need that now more than ever during these last 2 games. Like, I know we've been saying it, every game is the biggest game, but like, Jesus, man, we need sparking on every cylinder.
We do. We do. Yeah. And to finish off this list, the Penguins have 11.5% chance after losing to the Boston Bruins last night. Thank goodness.
Wow.
And then the Flyers, with only 1 game remaining, and that's against the Capitals, have a 6.4% chance of winning. And the Flyers must beat the Capitals. But Derek, I'm not sure if you still have this up yet, but can you do a brief rundown of the teams and all of the games that they have left, or at least going up against the teams that they still have to play? Because like you mentioned, it sounds like that the Red Wings have the best remaining schedule going up against the Montreal Canadiens team, who is nowhere near a playoff spot. So I'll leave the floor open to you, Derek.
I mean, there's definitely a reason that we have a 65.8% chance right now. Everybody else is a lot lower while we're not sitting in a seed spot right now. It's because, as you guys said, and everyone can see on our screen right there, we play Montreal back-to-back to finish out the season. Obviously, 2 games that we should and most likely hopefully win. And then after that, we got the Capitals, and their remaining games are Boston and Philly. So first off, you got Boston, who is most likely going to run down the Capitals. Again, this is what we're hoping. These are what the numbers say, and this is what should happen. Right. After the last 2 weeks, I really don't know. These numbers kind of mean nothing to me anymore.
Yep, me too. Sad truth.
Yeah, it's a horrible truth. Then Crosby, his remaining games are the Predators and Philly.
I like how you just named them the Crosby team. Not the Penguins, it's Crosby.
Not the Penguins anymore. It's Crosby. There's one reason that they're here, and it's because
the Pittsburgh Crosbys
in the father time. Jesus.
Facts.
Yeah, that is facts, honestly. But yeah, and then going back to what you said, Derek, or I might have mentioned it too, but Philadelphia's last game against the Washington Capitals, it is an absolute must unless the Washington Capitals lose to the Boston Bruins, which would help us out. And if we just win our 2 games, we will make the second wildcard spot. But it is absolutely essential that we become Flyers fans when they play against the Washington Capitals, because if the Flyers beat the Washington Capitals, the Red Wings should have a better opportunity of making the second wildcard spot.
When is the Washington game? So Washington against Boston is the same night as Detroit. So Monday. And then, so they're playing back-to-back too. Oh, wow.
Yep. So on Tuesday night, we will also be Flyers fans as well as Red Wings fans, but we're even going to be Boston Bruins fans, as much as that probably hurts Matt Leslie's soul because he thinks they're frauds. We need them to be winners. big time winners for us.
Big time winners.
And I do believe that this is the best opportunity the Red Wings could ever take, right? That, hey, just allow Boston. And Boston has a lot in it for them too, because if the Florida Panthers have one game left, if Boston loses their last two games and Florida wins, then Boston is second, and then they'll be stuck playing the Toronto Maple Leafs. So who does Boston want to play more? Do they want to play Tampa Bay, or do they want to play Toronto more?
They want to play Toronto.
You think so? Because I said this before the recording too. I mean, Andrei Vasilevsky honestly has not been looking that good. So if I was Boston, I'd probably want to play Tampa Bay. But then again, I also said Toronto really doesn't look that good either. Their defense really is not there. Their goaltending is not there either. So
and my God,
pick or poison, but I think Boston has a lot.
God mode.
Yeah, I think Boston
playoffs.
Yeah, I think Boston has a lot in it for them too. So it's completely up to them. I mean, they definitely have to show out. Moving along here, I'm just trying to speed it up a little bit for us, boys, because we are running out of time here. I do want to talk about some prospects in the playoffs. Last time we talked about the 23 draft prospects, right? So we're kind of talking about some other prospects. So Liam Dower-Nilsson, in this, I haven't updated this, so this is a couple days old, but Liam Dower-Nilsson, he has 1 goal, 4 assists, in 4 games played, so he's got 5 points. That's sick from him. Anton Johansson, he's a defenseman, 2 goals, 2 assists, in 7 games played for 4 points. And then Shai Buium, who actually just became a national champion for the second time in the NCAA, who did record. He ended up getting 2 assists throughout the whole entire tournament for the Frozen Four. The game-winning goal in the championship game against Boston College, he ended up getting the assist on that game-winning goal as well. And so be on the lookout for that Shai Buium ELC coming up very soon. I would imagine that's coming up within the next couple days, and then hopefully he can make the jump with Grand Rapids. I don't know what Grand Rapids is going to do if they do sign him, because they have a lot of defensemen down there where there's not a lot of room. So they're going to have to make a couple tough decisions. And if the Red Wings don't make the playoffs, then I'm assuming Simon Edvinsson goes down and plays in the playoffs for them as well. So that's more left-handed defensemen there. But congratulations to Shai Buium. Congratulations to all these prospects that are in the playoff hunt. And congratulations to Grand Rapids Griffins, who put up a win last night. Marco Kasper ended up getting 2 goals last night, so he just keeps on killing it as well. That top line is insane with Mazer, Kasper, and Berggren. And so, boys, that's it for the Red Wings news. And so let's go into the main topic real quick. And so we'll be screen sharing here in a little bit about the poll that we did, but I just want to touch on one thing. The Red Wings points percentage by season under Steve Yzerman, because there's a lot of flack going out there. It's coaching, it's general manager signing the bad contracts, whatever, and then the players, obviously. So talking about the win percentage or points percentage under Steve Yzerman so far in the 5 seasons that he has been the general manager. 2019, 27.5%. 2020, 21, 42.9. Then it's 45.1. 48.4 or 48.8. And then this season so far, with the 2 games remaining, the Red Wings points percentage is 54.4%. Overall, how are you guys feeling about Steve Yzerman?
It's nice to see that percentage literally doubled since his first year, but at the same time, I can't say too much about the 2019-2020 Red Wings.
Yeah.
You're just hurt everybody in general.
Yeah.
But this is what you want to see from a GM taking over a team that's literally was in the tanker. And look at, we're rising up from the ashes somehow. 54.4% with 2 games remaining against the easiest team in the NHL basically right now.
We could tie this into coaching too. Ever since Lalonde came on, I mean, the season before they were at 45%. So comparing now to the 54, that's almost a 10% difference in terms of having Lalonde. Is that awesome? Yeah, I think that's awesome that we were able to go up with Lalonde and both Steve Yzerman. Is the 10% less than you expected, though? Like, would you expect more out of that? Would you expect that the percentage be higher based on where we're at right now?
If you're judging Lalonde, you have to look at only the last 2 years. So what's the difference? Like, what's the point percentage of last year versus this year?
Yeah, it's 48.8% to 54, so about 6%.
Okay, so listen, I know I've been hard on Derek Lalonde, and it's point percentages. There trademark. There is progress for sure. It's the thing that I don't like, and the thing that really just irks me is the way the team loses. It's the fashion of the loss that I think that it could be. I think there could be more damage control done with the right voice. Listen, you can have any coach there. You're going to lose some games. Yes, absolutely. But in what kind of fashion? I don't know. Is it going to be different than these fashions? That's what irks me the most with Derek Lalonde, because I have been hard on him. Is there progression happening, to your point, with Yzerman and his tenure? 100%. It's Steve Yzerman, guys. Like, he knows the players he's going to put in, whether they're plug players or not. He's looking for plug players that can make a difference, and he's been successful at that. Are we starting to see maybe some downhill of these plug players? Yeah, maybe. Is there an offseason coming up? Yeah. Do I want to be Steve Yzerman during this offseason? Hell no, because it's going to be crazy. He's got some things to do. But anyone who questions Steve Yzerman, I think is, and I don't want to piss anybody off, but I think you're just a little too casual of a fan, because you have to look at these type of situations and these type of stats, which I don't think people are doing, because obviously they wouldn't be bashing Steve Yzerman. You know what I mean? But again, when you're a casual fan, you're just looking at the score app and they lost again. Oh, they lost again. Oh, they lost again. Oh, fire Steve Yzerman. Oh, fire. You know what I mean? But when you actually look at some of the things that make up the losses, make up the progressions, then you're obviously, it's an easy answer to say Steve Yzerman is still Steve Yzerman. And then to your point too, Zach, is there progression with the coaching? And can you say that the coaching is deserves a round of applause? Sure, you can, in one aspect of it. But then in my point, it's just when you actually watch these games, you see the way they lose based on systematics, whatever, lineups, decisions, whatever. That's why I've been hard on Derek. I just feel like I owe an explanation. Like I would love to have a beer with Derek Lalonde and talk hockey with him, because he seems like a really cool guy. Seems like a really nice guy. He really does.
Yeah, he does.
It's just like some of his philosophies I question, his decisions I question, and what you do to a team or what you say to a team when they're losing 2 games to the Arizona Coyotes, I just what's happening right now? But that's just my thing with that. But anyways.
All right. So we did a poll recently on Twitter. If you guys can see here. Yes, it looks like you guys can see it. And so we asked it once. We talked about it on the show. I believe it was last episode. We had about 80 voters. So thank you to those who voted. We did it again because a couple games went down the stretch. And so what should Steve Yzerman prioritize upgrading in the offseason? Obviously, you could have chosen all of the above, but Twitter only allows me to do 4 options. So I wanted you guys, the fans, the listeners, the watchers, to leave a comment. If you leave a comment, regardless of what you select, you might get featured on our next episode. So that's what we're doing here. Mainly, everyone's going to get featured on this episode. We're probably not going to talk on everyone's comments, but we will feature everyone's comments here. So let's go ahead and look at the total votes. Out of 236 votes. Thank you to everyone who voted. 43.6%.
Thank you.
Yeah, huge claps. 43.6% of the people who voted said defensive depth is by far the biggest need. Then you follow that up with goalie depth, forward depth, and then coaching. You definitely could have selected all of the above. I don't think that there was a correct answer, but majority of people believe that the defensive depth is something that needs to be fixed in this offseason. And I would very much agree with that. Would you guys agree with that as well?
Yes.
Oh, it's highlighted right on the face of the Red Wings right now with how bad it is. And the only good part about it is we know exactly what we need to fix next in this offseason. Probably the easiest thing to do. Well, not easy in relative terms for Stevie, but at least we know the issue.
Yeah. And then for me, I mean, I think the people who voted hit the nail on the head. I think it would probably go, you probably got to fix the defense first, Then you got to fix the goalie depth. I mean, we talked about that already, right? And then for forward depth, I think it's the bottom 6. Yeah, I think you need to add at least one more top 6 player, whether if that's a legitimate 2C, no offense to Comfort, but someone who can help drive a line outside of Lucas Raymond, or just gonna very skilled winger like a Jake Gensel, like I kind of brought up earlier too. So there's a lot that this team can do. And then I'm low-key kind of surprised that coaching's the last one, considering how many fans online bash on Lalonde and the coaching staff. I mean, I'm very much someone who thinks Bubner, Tanguay, the other guy, I can't remember his name for whatever reason, I think they got to go because the special teams are always inconsistent. One game they're good, one game they're bad, 1 week they're good, 1 week they're bad, then they're bad for 2 months, and they're good for a month and a half, then they're bad. It's just all over the place. You need to find consistency somewhere. I don't know where, but that's up to Steve Yzerman to figure that out. That's why he gets paid the big bucks and we don't. Much like Carlos said, I do not want to be Steve Yzerman in this offseason because there are a lot of things he needs to work on to make us a continuous playoff team moving forward. And so let's go into some of the comments. And so we'll kind of go through these one by one. If there is one that sticks out to you guys, stop me, but I'm just going to kind of read these through as we go along. So Brendan Sanders at Quetzal Anon, I apologize if I pronounce that wrong, but upgrading via UFAs, forwards, specifically top 6 to replace Perron and play with Ray. We don't have that talent in the pipeline immediately. I kind of just touched on that, right? Where Perron, if you want to bring back Perron, it's got to be bottom 6 role, right? I do believe that the Red Wings need a top six forward to play along with Comfort and Raymond if Raymond is on the second line, right? And so we just need that. We need that other player. Goaltending has been a concern for a while. I know they're using stopgaps till Kosa and hopefully Augustine already, but it hasn't really worked out for a full season. Once again, we talked about this already, right? And
that's
so
fair. Yeah.
It's very for Liz Lemon. I mean, Detroit, Liz 53523. Sorry, I'm going really fast, guys. But yeah, a lot of these comments, they're going to sound a little repetitive, just worded a lot differently. But I think this is all great stuff. These fans, I mean, whether if they're casuals, whether if they're diehard fans, whatever you want to call them, a lot of people, this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to give you guys a voice on our platform too. And so I think a lot of these fans, they're hitting the nails on the head. Brian, do that goalie depth. Once again, we need an elite goalie. We keep signing these goalies that are career backups and trying to make them number one goalies. We're running them into the ground. Look at Billy Husso. Look at Alex Lyon, James Reimer, that poor bastard. Unfortunately for him, I don't know what to do about him, but I don't know if it's just luck with Reimer or if it's skill or maybe just a little bit of both, but he's been looking good down the stretch for us. But it's just interesting, right? And then that tapeworm that I voted, but I'm saying all of the above. They could all use some fine tuning, but Lalonde needs to go. He's not head coach material, and frankly, he makes me itch. I don't know what that means, but saying there's no Wings superstar isn't the message to convey to these guys. Newsy pointed up. Carlo, I feel like you. Yeah, Carlo, I feel like this is something that you would comment.
Well, yes, and I like that there's context as well in saying there's no Wings superstar. I do remember when he said that. And again, it went back to my question last week about what are you doing to the psyche of your players, right? Yeah. When you're saying things like that, or when you're saying, we shouldn't even be here over and over again. You're like, what are you doing? You're destroying psyche of people. So I love that there's context on that. By the way, that's a killer handle. Phenomenal. Just a little side note. But yeah, thank you for the context on that. That's kind of where I'm at. And I think you're probably going to be with me, that tapeworm, on questioning the psyche and what you're doing or what Derek's doing to the psyche when making those types of comments. So that's where I fully agree. I don't understand his philosophy on coaching. And I think you nailed it. And it's very similar to what my concerns are too. So I'm right there with you. And thank you so much for commenting and participating in the vote. We appreciate that.
Yeah. And then continuing on at Bushwood _C. Sorry if I haven't said your underscores, obviously, for the previous people, but they said they got to get better at not giving up so many quality shots. Amen to that. Yes, that is correct. Yep. Lounging Bilbo. Improve our depth.
Another killer handle.
Improve our depth by making all top 6, bottom 6 players and replacing them with the top talent in the league. As much as I want to say, yeah, go ahead and do that. I mean, it's easier said than done. I mean, I agree with you, but
let me tell you, we don't got that much money.
No,
we need to double our cap. Then maybe we can do that.
Yeah, this isn't EA Sports. This isn't EA Sports, unfortunately.
Yeah, as much as I agree with you, Rippling Dad Bod, great name, by the way. Yeah, it's just unfortunately the cap situation. I mean, it's just not going to work out that way. But I would agree with you. I think you need to bring in more top end talent. And there are definitely some players you could push down, like someone like David Perron into a bottom 6 role. Super_Steve_Y. Great name, Blake. All of the above to an extent, but the most important is defense. I think this is the time for Steve to get creative with the trades and probably buyouts. Improvement can come from within by prospects externally. 100% agree with you. Mm-hmm. I definitely believe that Steve Yzerman, I mean, Carlo, you said this, I said it too. This is going to be a very busy offseason for Steve Yzerman. I do think that we have to start seeing a youth movement come up, and you have to start letting go of some of the free agents. And when I say letting go, like you got to stop bringing in the 28s, the 29s, the 27-year-olds, unless they're coming in on 1-year deals. That's the only time I think moving forward that you should be bringing in somewhat of a veteran player. And you got to start evolving with the youth players like the Kaspers, the Mazers, the Berggrens. You got to start doing that. The Johanssons even. So does anyone want to speak on this one real quick? Derek, you haven't really spoken on one yet.
I mean, at this point, I definitely, instead of using buyouts, I'd definitely be pushing anybody over the age of 35 that's not Patrick Kane towards, some nice retirement era stuff. Especially people with a name that starts with the letter P. I feel like that one.
What about anyone with start with? What about
there's technically 2 that start with P that I question.
Over 32, so. That's the worst part. I think we all know which defenseman I'm talking about at this point.
Yeah, there we go. There it is.
Yeah. So, okay, cool. And then moving along here, there's a lot of comments in here, so I'm trying to rapidly move through them. At Colin G series, I would like to change my answer to coaching. Our systems suck. Our players have shown time and time again to have issues with them, and they get exploited super easily. Upgrades to the roster can't come at the expense of a spot for Edvinsson, Johansson, in parentheses, waiver eligible, and Berggren. Carlo, touch on this real quick.
I like that one, and it does make sense. I do agree with it. Upgrades to the roster can't come at the expense of a spot for Edvinsson, Johansson, and Berggren. So we talked about this too, where the only reason why Berggren is not in the lineup right now is because he's being blocked by a plug player. So I think that's what he's trying to maybe reference or speak on, is the fact that we cannot add plug players and leave these guys behind, because the guys we're leaving behind are going to get pissed. And our plug players have not really panned out for us. So it's kind of that fine line of taking a bit of a risk on bringing these guys up. But then I also commented where it's like, it's an easier pill to swallow when you got these young guys coming up making mistakes, as opposed to these overpaid veteran plug players continuously making mistakes. So totally agree with that. And I mean, the coaching answer, our systems suck. Our players have shown time and time again to have issues with it. Yeah, I'm with you. I agree. I'm not a fan of the system this team plays. I think they could be complemented by playing a bit of a system that's based more on skill as opposed to kind of mindless dump and chase and hope to God you win a battle. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you there. And thanks for participating.
At Pongo_the_brave says, extend the Lion, drop Jeff Petrie off at bingo, focus on defense, buy prospect, UFA or trade, sign Jeff Petrie up for AARP, put Alex DeBrincat in one spot and just feed him one-timers until he can't miss July to August. Bring Jeff Petrie to McDonald's at 6 a.m. for senior coffee. I'll just say yes to all those
Does he want to be the coach? Hey, can he coach? I think that's the kind of hard ass we need behind the bench. I like
there
that.
you go, Pongo. We got a job for
Big
you,
claps.
buddy.
Big claps.
That one made me happy.
The _ Mexinadian, Carlo, this might be your next door neighbor and you just don't know it. He's known the Petrie Truther, the Mexinadian. The defense, easy choice. They are the ones getting burned most nights. The offensive depth is fine. Though they still need one more top 6 guy. Okay, we already kind of touched on that. And a healthy line, Husso would be fine for 82 games. And no, I don't think the second-year coach with a Reading record is the problem. So, I mean, we don't have to go in depth about this one. We kind of talked about it. Yeah, I mean, Husso playing a full 82 or being able to play full 82 games next season, I'm kind of worried about that. We both, or all three of us said that we're kind of worried about Husso, right? So we'll just have to see. But yeah, I would agree that, yeah, we need one more top 6 guy. I would agree that I don't think Lalonde is an issue right now. His system, to me, is very wonky, but with 3 years on his contract, yeah, I just want to see how he does next season, maybe with a different assistant coaching staff, and then just kind of go from there and see what the future outlooks for this Detroit Red Wings team. But moving along, at Katia _Panka. I'm so sorry if I'm saying these wrong, everyone, but I'm going to stick with what I previously voted. If Kane is retained, a solid 2C center or a solid 2C to center the Kane line is priority number 1. Priority number 2 is a solid right D to be slotted to second or third pairing. Line to be extended in tandem with Kosa. Would also like some depth. Deadwood drop. I don't think Kosa will make the team next season. I could be wrong, but yeah, that's definitely a possibility. But I do like your priority number 1 and priority number 2. I do believe that they need to go get another right-handed defenseman, 2 slots in the second or third spots. And then, yeah, I'm right there with you. Red Wings redemption arc, act 5, if that's your name. Yeah, I'm someone who keeps on saying, yeah, I firmly believe that this team needs a legitimate 2C, and that's no disrespect to Comfort, but yeah, they need a 2C that can drive the line, someone who gets 60-plus points, like a Trocheck, right? It's just pretty astounding that we could have had Trocheck in the same offseason as Kopp, but you can't force people to sign with Detroit, right? And so I probably wouldn't have denied the chance to go play with the New York Rangers team who's going to win the President's Trophy this season.
Yeah, fair. It's good.
On _track _91, definitely defense at points this year. We've said the forwards have looked amazing at points. Goaltending has looked amazing. At no point has defense looked amazing. Yeah, we've talked about
100%.
that. Yeah,
but except for Cider. Cider has, for the most part, looked amazing.
And now Edvinsson.
And now Edvinsson.
I get the point. Like that person's absolutely right.
Yeah. At left wing lock 13, defensive depth is paramount, but Edvinsson has taken hold of his spot, and Johansson has a good chance of being in the NHL next year. Yep. Okay. So we've talked about this before. So everyone is. It seems like majority of the people who are fans are in agreement with what Edvinsson has done. Have to move guys, and won't be a ton of cap left after 53 extensions. I don't see an easy path on D. They also need a legit top 6 forward. Okay. Yep. So, yep. That's on the list, top 6 forward. And then, yeah, I mean, defensive depth. I mean, like I mentioned, a lot of these are going to sound a little repetitive, just phrased differently. But yeah, no, I think we're all in agreement on those 2 things, right? Leaf Petrie at McDonald's from Gilliam Army 48. I believe that's how you're saying it, Noah. So my apologies if I said that wrong. But leave Petrie at McDonald's before he completely ruins the Petrie name in Detroit. Sign good defensemen and give me a full season of Edvinsson. And please pair him with Cider. Bring the kids up from Grand Rapids. Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that statement. Honestly, I think we should start seeing a youth movement here pretty soon. Spencer Sellner, SPE 72286. Trade for a top 6 forward who will play in front of the net. Either Casper or Danielson need to be in the lineup. Let Veleno walk, sign Fisher, trade cut Hall, offload Mata, then possibly sign I think it's Matt Roy, right?
Matt Roy.
And start using the Grand Rapids depth in D, bring up Costa to play with Lyon. I don't think they'll bring up Costa. Derek probably wants them to do that. I'm actually in agreement with you, Spencer, that I think that the Red Wings, you don't let him walk, but you don't re-sign him and you trade him to someone else. I definitely would be okay with re-signing Fisher. You might have to give him a little bit more. He makes like what? I think it's like 1.15 mil, maybe 1.25 mil. Give him a little bit of a pay raise for 1 year. Yeah, I would sign Fisher too. Yeah, I would agree with you. You should bring up Casper, maybe Danielson. Danielson looked good at the end of training camp. He made it until the last day. There's a really good chance that he could make that jump. Do either of you two want to touch on this one real quick? This is a little different than all the other ones.
This is the second time I've seen Costa get brought up again. It's like, obviously we all want him. I think we all were in agreement that he does need at least one more year in Grand Rapids. But it really is going to pan out to see how he produces in the offseason and what he does at the prospect tournaments and everything like that right before in the postseason even.
Yeah.
We're going to see some action, and if he's performing the way Steve and Derek wanted him to perform, we could see him as a backup pretty early. But again, I really don't think that's going to happen. He needs at least one solid season before Costa actually does get brought up.
Yeah.
Which then, for context too, that puts Alex Lyon at 33 years old, because I think he's 31 now or 32 now.
Yeah,
next year he'd be 33 or 34. So I don't know if we'll see an Alex Lyon, Sebastian Cossa tandem, just because Lyon's he's getting up there. And now I know goalies can probably play a little bit longer than a player could in terms of playing well. So it's possible. It's definitely possible. But I think we see Cossa with a goaltender that's not named Alex Lyon or Billy Husso, to be honest with you. I think there's going to be some changes for sure.
I would agree with you on that. Yeah, but great comment, Spencer. That was a fantastic one. Yeah. So, and then we'll go over to at your local bot, Raymond Al Gabe. None of the above. Don't see depth as an issue so much as players this team doesn't need right now. Relative to their prospects, Berg can replace Sprong. Danielson, Casper can replace Kopp. Johansson can slowly replace Sherratt. Keep Ed up as well. Might regress, but worth it. I'm little confused on this one. I don't know why you would say none of the above. I mean, I guess I could see why you're saying that, but
is he looking for more?
The word depth wasn't to be taken so literal. Sorry, I'm not saying that you take everything literal, Raymond Algabe, but I think there's definitely a decent amount of room for improvement on this team. But I would agree with you. I think Berggren can replace Sprong. I don't think you're going to replace Kopp this offseason, and probably not Sherratt either. Those contracts are just very, I guess, lucrative is the word I could use. Even if you traded them, you're definitely going to have to shell something out just to move those contracts and then buy out. I mean, do you want to be stuck with those contracts for 4, 5, 6 years? I personally don't if you're buying them out, because I don't want to see their name as long as I've seen Justin Abdelkader's name on the buyout list for the Red Wings. So no, thank you. Moving along though, we're going to rush through these. Sean_Loreno. I'm so sorry if I said that wrong once again. Yzerman has to revamp this defense unit in the offseason, buy out Petrie, let Ghost walk. I would agree. You probably let Ghost walk, get rid of Hall. It's going to come down to either you keep Petrie or you keep Hall. I don't think you get rid of both, because that's just then
we'll lose way too much at that process then.
Yeah, then there's a lot more going on. And bring up Johansson plus sign a right-handed D like Matt Roy in free agency. That's the second time we heard that. The Kopp and Sherratt deals.
Like that.
Yeah, Sherratt and Kopp deals are the two that are no bueno, considering the amount of years left on them. Yeah, I agree with you. They're definitely no bueno, but there's really not much you can do with those, unfortunately, until they get down. Well, Sherratt's going to be down to his final 2 years, so maybe you could do something with that, but I don't think Sherratt is the one that you're calling out here. At this point, for me, it's I have Sherratt over Kopp. Kopp does well on the PK and in the faceoff circle, but that doesn't match up with the cost that we are paying him. You guys might agree with me on that. But Armdog_SS, how about moving some depth for high-level players? I mean, yeah, easier said than done.
Though, right? Who wants to trade a lower bottom 6 for a top 6 player straight up? Nobody.
But you're gonna have to add. Yeah, you're gonna have to pick that. You're gonna have to throw picks in, probably some high end prospects to make something like that happen. Possible, sure. Realistic, not sure, because there's 32 other teams that, you know what I mean. They're trying to do the same thing. So
yeah, Arm Dog, we agree with you, but it's just a lot easier said than done. Hopefully Steve Yzerman can pull it off somehow, but we're just going to have to wait and see. But I'm right there with you. Shane_Lizard with 2 Z's says forward depth, D depth is in the pipeline and ready to go. Goalies, ... We're not finding much in free agency right now. And it's true. You had to trade for Husso, Nedeljkovic. Luckily, you were able to get Reimer and Lyon in free agency, but like we said earlier, the goaltending depth in free agency is minimal. So you're probably going to have to find one via trade, and this probably would be the season to do. And that goes back to the question, do we put Husso on LTIR, or do we buy him out, or do we try to trade him? Those are a couple different options we can go with, because I'm not confident that he can be the player he once was. Honestly, I really can't see that happening. At home style melt, Jeff Tiny Bear, in my opinion, trimming the fat. Too many filler pieces taking up spaces, and they simply don't set up when we need them to. Carlo, this is basically everything that you've mentioned, right? And I agree. We have way too many filler pieces. This is why I say that we need to start utilizing the youth and start bringing up more of the younger players, because much like Derek always says, I'd much rather see a younger player make these mistakes than an old veteran player making all this money, making the 100%. Same mistake that a young player would. So
100%.
I think we're all in agreement with you there, Jeff Tiny Bear. Love the name, by the way. Keep it up. Jay Davis, 2719, second line center, a D-man that can take some load off Sider's back. LOL. No, you're exactly right. I think that the main target in this offseason is probably going to be a legitimate starting goaltender, and it's going to be a right-handed D player that can play the second pair behind Mo Seider, and maybe just like flip-flop every once in a while to give Seider that break, right? And give him some more easier assignments and being more of a lethal threat. Because I do believe in the even on the left-handed D side, I don't know if it's going to be Edvinsson. It could be someone else, but I would love to see Steve Yzerman go out and get a left-handed D player that is a well fit for Seider, because Jake Wallman seemed like it was good for a little bit. That hit the shitter. Ben Sherratt, that hit the shitter. So I would love to see more help surrounding Moritz Seider. I almost said Simon Seider, so that's why I paused.
One day it'll be a line. Maybe.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But all right, that is all the replies. There are some more down here, but I'm just not going to click on them because we are running out of time. But thank you to everyone that commented on this. Honestly, this is a lot more than I thought we were going to get. And thank you to everyone who voted.
Huge showing.
Yeah, this was awesome. Great. Thank you. And we'll definitely be doing more of these in the future, so keep an eye out on those. Boys, that's kind of it for the main topics, and we'll kind of do a brief around the league news. Noah Hanifin extends with the Golden Knights for 8 years, $7.35 million. How do they keep getting away with this? I have no idea, but they're definitely going to have to make some roster reconstructions in the offseason, I would imagine. So
I feel an utter collapse coming at some point for Vegas, but I just love the fact that it hasn't happened yet, and I'm going to keep riding those coattails of that team. Oh, God.
Also, speaking of the Vegas Golden Knights, What's His Nuts is Mark Stone. He's back to practicing and getting ready to play. It's almost like they have magical doctors over there in Vegas. They sprinkle some magic dust or giving them Jordan's secret drinking water or whatever it is, the secret stuff. So
I hate it.
I love it.
I mean, Derek and I, that's our second team right there, is the Vegas Golden Knights. We were the first Vegas Golden Knights fans before they were ever a team. We always say that, but I technically do hate it too. I think it's definitely a exploitation that the whole cap issue, putting players on LTIR. I think the league definitely needs to get a better handle on that, especially when you're the rumor of, the league wanting to expand to possibly 34 teams by 2030. Something's got to change a little bit because it's only going to get more and more difficult as they bring in more teams. And speaking of new teams, boys, the Orbital Mooners, as I wanted them to be known as, is no longer going to happen because the Arizona Coyotes will be heading to Salt Lake City, Utah. And I feel really bad for the players and I feel really bad for the fans. I don't feel bad
for Clayton
ownership.
Keller will come to Detroit now. Hey, you never know.
So that was going to be my question. Well, okay, so it's going to be a question. So you can't imagine that all these players are going to be happy with this idea, right? There's a reason why they don't have contracts more than 3 years on their current roster, right? Because they probably saw something like this coming, right? And so for some of their younger players like Clayton Keller, as you mentioned, is that someone who really wants to play in Salt Lake City? I don't know. Is there a chance that he might want to be traded? Yeah, there probably is. I guess for you guys, would you rather be in Arizona or Salt Lake City?
Salt Lake City.
I've never been to Salt Lake City. I've been to Arizona a couple times. I like Arizona, but
have you been in that arena?
Ooh.
Thank God, no, I have not. But I did just see that tickets for the last game are going for well over $1,000 now.
Well, they got to make their money somehow when they only have 3,500 seats in there.
So, and then also they sold the team to the league. It was like right around $1 billion, maybe just under, and then reselling it to Salt Lake City for around the 1.2, 1.3 billion. So the league is technically making money off of this, which, okay, that's fine. If that's how it's got to go, then yeah, okay, cool. You know,
Arizona's GM,
Bill Armstrong.
Is it Bill Armstrong?
Pretty sure.
I'm just trying to think of that guy. I mean, that organization ran like crap ever since it began. Bought for what, $400 million? How do you run a team into?
Wait, you talking GM or owner?
Oh, the owner.
Oh, yeah, the GM is
Bill Armstrong's GM.
Yeah,
but the owner's I can't. His last name starts with an M. Monier?
Unimportant. That's
Whatever.
Totally unimportant because they have had multiple ownerships that just do not know how to operate a hockey club whatsoever. It's almost like they don't care whatsoever. And that's been the case for the last 20 plus years that they've been a franchise. So, I mean, congratulations to Salt Lake City. You got a team.
And that owner who made $600 million off a team that tanked.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, that
blew my mind. Like, how do you get that as a selling price for a team that's doing atrocious, that literally has to get kicked out of the state they're in because it's doing so bad, but over $500 million? Okay, that's cool. Have it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
All right. And then, Carlo, we're going to close out with the honorary Red Wing mention player of the week. Do you have one?
Oh, I got one. And you guys aren't going to see it coming. And that's what I love about this week's honorary mention, boys, is you aren't even going to see this one coming. We have a gentleman by the name of Mitch Callahan as our honorary Red Wings mention. Mitch Callahan played. I'll give you guys a second. How many games did Mitch Callahan play for Detroit? Take a gander.
3.
Derek got it. 5 games.
Damn it.
5 games. How many points did Mitch Callahan get for Detroit? Derek's nailing this right now. My goodness. Can you close your browser? Jesus.
I mean, the worst part is I put Jack Chelios as the honorary mention. Guess who has the same exact record?
Yeah, Mitch Callahan, I don't know why that struck me earlier this morning. I woke up and thought about Mitch Callahan. So, Mitch, I hope you're doing well. I have no idea why I thought about you first thing this morning. He's currently retired. He's no longer playing hockey at a professional level. His last season was 2020, 2021 in the Swedish league, playing for the Mighty Bulls. I'm not going to pronounce the name of the city. Yeah, they're mighty, and they're Bulls.
They must.
6 games, 1 goal with 1 point. So, Mitch Callahan, big claps to you, buddy. Thanks for popping into my mind this morning. We hope you're doing well. We hope you're watching the Red Wings right now and hope you're excited as we are. We got a big 2 games coming up here to close things off. And Yeah, we hope you're well, man.
Yeah, and so I don't really have much to speak on Mitch Callahan. I hope everything's going well. Congratulations on the retirement 3 years late, but boys, we've been recording long enough, honestly, and it's a very nice day outside. So great episode overall, but let's go ahead and close it out, boys. So final thoughts, Derek, Carlo, then myself.
Oh, boys, win. It's just win at this point. There's no like anything else in the books. It's just get the dubs. Hooray, everybody else loses.
Yep, just win.
That's what we need.
Just win.
Oh, and a small correction from earlier. Crosby is not playing Philly. They are playing the Islanders in their second game. Sorry, that was my bad.
Oh, you got me excited. I thought you were saying Crosby just wasn't playing at all.
Like, oh, no, I wish. Yeah, that'd make it a lot better.
Zach was so pumped. Yeah, same message. Just win. Roll 4 lines. Play hard every line. Play for the guy next to you and just win. That's all I got.
Yeah, honestly, I'm just going to piggyback on what both of these guys said. I mean, just win. Please. I would love for you guys to make the playoffs, Red Wings. So, yeah, just win, please. And so that's it. That's it. We're done. And so we're going to go ahead and close off. So once again, thank you all for stopping by and joining us on this brand new episode of Hockeytown Rundown. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, get it to 20 likes. We appreciate that. Make sure you're following us on Spotify, rate us a 5 stars, and then we'll see y'all on the next one when the season's over. Hopefully it's playoff time.
Peace.
Bye, y'all.